Welcome to lesson 3. In this lesson we are going to show the steps how to install EVNG to our VMware Workstation Pro. Before the installation we have to understand where can we get that EVNG image or installation image from. We have to go to evng.net site. After reaching the site you will see home page like the following. You have to go down and find EVNG Community Edition. For this we have to go to Downloads. In Downloads we see EVNG Professional, which is a paid version. We don't need the paid version now. And there is a free EVE Community Edition version 6.2.04. We have checksums to check the ISO file after download, which we are not going to perform in this course. What we are going to perform is to download the image from the site. We will say EVNG Community Edition Full ISO Direct Link. After clicking on Direct Link, the download starts, as you can see here. As I have already downloaded the image, I will cancel it from here. And we will go to the folder where it has been downloaded. But before we go there, I would highly suggest you to download the Windows Client pack, which is Windows Client Site 3.0. You have to click on this link, which says EVNG with Client Pack 3.0. And you will see the start of the download. It's around 100 megabyte, well 99 in my case. I will also cancel it as I have downloaded previously. Now we will go to our VMware Workstation Pro, which we have installed in our previous lesson, and create virtual machine for EVNG. For this we say File, New Virtual Machine, Custom, Next, Hardware Compatibility Workstation 25H2. We will say I will install the operating system later. We will say the operating system is Linux, because the EVNG is based on Linux and exactly on Ubuntu 64-bit, so we select Ubuntu 64-bit, say Next. Virtual machine name, let's say EVNG for YouTube students. And the location will be my second NVMe drive on my PC, which is in volume D. And let's create a folder for it. EVNG, let's say test students. We say OK. And we say next. Number of the processors. As my PC has only one processor, I can give only one CPU, but I am able to give, let's say, 8 cores, because my machine has 20 cores. And we say next. Then we will assign around 60 GB of memory. If your computer has maximum 16 GB of memory, you should assign less than 16. Let's say you can assign 12. So that 4 GB will be used for your Windows 11 Pro and 12 GB can be used by the EVNG. Or you can shift it down to 8 GB for your EVNG and let the rest 8 GB be used for Windows 11 Pro, your host operating system. The more RAM you give to the EVNG, the better, especially if you are planning to use RAM-intensive virtual machines inside EVNG. Normally I assign up to 32 GB of RAM because my physical machine has 64 GB of RAM. So let's stick to the 16 GB for now. and say next. Now, what type of network do you want to add? Actually, we are going to assign 3 types of networks which we created in our previous lesson. Let's say for now use Bridget and click next. Which SCSI controller type would you like to use for SCSI virtual disk? Let's use the recommended one. What kind of disk do you want to create? It says SCSI, but I have NVMe. That's why I'll choose NVMe. Say next. Which disk do you want to use? Create new virtual disk, use existing virtual disk, or use physical disk? I'm going to create a new virtual disk. And I'm going to assign it 200 GB. This is actually the minimum which you have to assign to the EVNG so that it has enough space for all the images which we are going to deploy in future and all clones which you are going to create inside your EVNG. It will be better if you can assign more than 200 GB if you have space in your physical computer. We shouldn't say allocate all this space now. We will say store virtual disk as a single file. We don't want it to be split to multiple files. And we don't want to allocate all disk space now, because if we do this kind of allocation for each of our created virtual machine, we will run out of space on our primary storage on our physical disk. So click next. It says specify disk file. Where would you like to store the disk file? And we are going to store it on the same location where we have created our folder. Customize hardware. No, we're not going to customize it now. We will check it later and say finish. And now we see this virtual machine here created. Let's say from here, edit virtual machine settings. We can change the RAM capacity here again if we are not happy. We can change the number of processors. What we have to do with the CPU, we should say virtualize Intel VTX EPT or AMD V or RVI. This feature you have to activate from your BIOS, and then you should also click it here, so that your EVNG will be able to use CPU virtualization features and can run the virtual equipment and operating systems which will be created inside EVNG. It is like we are running hypervisor inside hypervisor. So we have our host, which is Windows 11 Pro. Then we installed on it our VMware Workstation Pro, which is already a hypervisor. And then we install a virtual machine there and told to this virtual machine that you are also going to be a hypervisor for EVNG. If you do not select this one, your performance will drop dramatically, or your virtual machine will not be able to proceed. So, hard disk, CD, we have to insert our EVNG image, which is located on desktop, EVNG files, this one, EVNG Community Edition 6.2.4. We say open. And we came to network adapters. We are going to add here 2 more network adapters. And we are going to assign them custom specific virtual networks which we created in a previous lesson. So it is VMnet 0, which is the bridged one. Then we are going to assign this one VMnet 1, which is NATed one. And to this adapter we are going to assign host only. What I don't like is the naming that it gave, like network 3 and then network 2, but it doesn't matter. The sequence is important, that the first one is the bridged one, the second one is the netted one, and the third one is the host only one, and we will see the same sequence in our EVNG after we install it. USB controller present. Actually, we are not going to use the USB controller. We even can remove it from here, but let it be. Sound card auto detect, let it be. Display auto detect, let it be. We say OK. And then we can say power on this virtual machine from here. We have two options like install EVNG community or bare metal option. We don't have a bare metal, so we will start the top version. And we see with some small letter the installation procedure. Let's try to zoom it. Okay. The installation process is starting. Let's see our performance. It suggests us to select the language which we are going to use. We are fine with English and press enter. Keyboard configuration, please select your keyboard layout below or select identify keyboard to detect your layout automatically. Actually, my keyboard is type which I have currently is a UK keyboard. And we say done. Confirm destructive action. Selecting continue will begin the installation process and result in the loss of data on the disk selected to be formatted. You will not be able to return to this or previous screen once the installation has started. Are you sure you want to continue? We say yes, because this is our new virtual machine and it has a clean disk. We are not going to lose any data. We say continue and the installation process continues. It will take some time to install the EVNG. It's not a small system. It says second stage install in progress, EVNG login. You don't need to log in this stage. Just wait. Okay, looks like installation is complete. We can go to the virtual machine and remove the CD-ROMs because we don't need it anymore and say OK. The default username for the CLI of the EVNG is root and default password is EVE. Now the system is asking us to change the root password, but we are not going to change it. We just say OK and say OK again. It will say that it has failed to change the password because we didn't provide any. We say OK. Type the short name for the system, and the short name is evng. It is required for licensing of the images, so that we better don't change it, and say OK. Type the DNS name for the system. We are not interested with any DNS naming, so that we will accept the default of example.com. Use the DHCP or static IP address for the network adapter on management network. We will say DHCP and then can fix it on a static IP address via our home router. I will show you how to do it later. Type the hostname IP address of NTP for initial clock sync. Leave empty if not used. We are not using. We say OK. Proxy server configuration. Choose how the virtual machine can connect to the internet. It will be a direct connection. We are not using any proxies. Okay, the system is booted again. It has an IP address of 192.168.13.82. Let's check the connectivity to that address from our web browser. We say 192.168.13.81. No, 82. 82. And the web server of our EVNG will respond with the default page where we have to enter the username, password, and native console. The default username is admin and the password is same, EV. So we choose as native console, not HTML5, and say sign in. Here we can add a new lab and call it test lab 1. And we can add some network, let's say. Cloud. MGMT. And we can add a test PC. Okay. So we have built a simple configuration with some basic virtual PC and bridged interface connectivity. We are not going to access their consoles now because we haven't installed a client pack. So that's all for this lesson. On the next lesson, we are going to install additional components to operate the EVNG efficiently. If you don't want to miss any new lessons on the channel, please like and subscribe. See you in upcoming lessons.